Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Deadly Days, Tales of Dark Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Bandel. Today we're going to continue with another chapter of Anarchist Knight Apprentice, Chapter 15 of The Cave. And since these are kind of fairly lengthy stories, I'm going to just go ahead and dive right into it. Enjoy it. If you are interested in reading this story in book form or whatever, I'm working on getting it ready for book form again. What I did was I rewrote this book. I started the original version over 25 years ago, and I had to kind of update it. So now I've got to complete the job, put it into book form. It's the first of a trilogy that I'm pretty excited about working on after all these years. Anyway, The Cave. The morning mist clung to the clearing as Tobal lingered after the meditation. The hell vision of his parents chained in a cave still burned in his mind. Sarah, Lila, and Jared had dispersed. Their solos approved, while Fiona and Becca were off to sanctuary. The lake's call pulsed through him, a command he couldn't ignore. He changed out of his robe, the fabric rustling as he packed dried meat and nuts into his bag, pausing to check his metalert bracelet with a flicker of unease from the vision. Memories of last night's circle flickered. Fiona and Becca's gaily chatting during the initiations had left him feeling out of place, their friendship deepening while his mood soured, driving him to solitude. Misty had led as High Priestess, with Ellen in the background and Angel's red master robes surprising him, a testament to her recovery since that leg injury in Sanctuary. Before leaving, he sought Rafe near the clearing's edge, his steps quick with purpose. "This is my last chance before winter to check the lake," Tobal said, the metalert concern nagging him. Rafe leaned in, voice low. "I've been thinking about this. I'm not supposed to share journeyman stuff, but it shouldn't matter. We fight in a large cave where metalert signals don't reach. Medics are always there for injuries. I tried something like this once. Nearly got caught. Trust your gut. You can't remove the bracelet. It'd mark you as dead, and without one you restart training. Avoid that," Rafe continued. Tobal nodded. "What should I do?" "Hide in small caves or under ledges by day. Air sleds can't detect you within rock. Travel fast at night. The bracelet will seem active and the cold will keep medics grounded. You're not breaking rules. No one's banned you yet, though they might once caught. Aim for midnight under the full moon. 3 hours max, then bolt. Should be interesting when they catch up." "That sounds good," Tobal replied. "I'll do it." They discussed the trip briefly, Rafe's grin lingering. Before Tobal set out, his mind set on the journey ahead. Tobal set out from the clearing, the morning sun breaking through the mist as he headed toward the lake, his pack slung tight. The rocky terrain between his path and the abandoned gathering spot loomed ahead, a maze of caves and outcroppings he'd noted before. He planned to travel by night, hiding by day as Rafe advised, the full moon's promise guiding him. The air grew colder as he moved, his breath fogging in the chill. the moon casting jagged shadows on the rocks that made him pause, listening for rustles in the dark. He made cold camps during the day, nestled under ledges, the furs from his pack shielding him from the biting wind. Sleep came fitfully, troubled by nightmarish images that intensified with each step closer to the waterfall. Shadowy figures, chains clinking, a hum that echoed the hell vision. By the third day, a shiver unrelated to the cold crept up his spine, a sense of being watched prickling his neck, though no air sleds appeared. On the fourth night, midnight found him standing before the cairn in the haunted gathering spot, the moonlight bathing the stones in silver. Ghosts seemed to whisper around him, a chill settling deep. He searched the cairn without a torch, his fingers brushing offerings, trinkets, faded cloth, but found no answers. Frustration gnawed at him. The camp looked cleansed, yet an inner prompting screamed to leave. A faint hum from the stones, too low to place, teased at his mind, hinting at secrets buried deeper. He hated the dark descent down the cliff face, but the urgency drove him. The rock chimney eased his drop, toes finding holds, until he stood on the patio by the pool. An hour gone, 2 hours left. The air thrummed with an unnatural pulse, urging him forward. Tobal stripped off his clothes, tucking them behind rocks on the patio, the icy air biting his skin. He kept his knife strapped to his leg and the magnesium fire starter around his neck, the weight a comfort as he braced for the pool. The waterfall's thundering roar vibrated through the ground, a deep pulse that seemed to guide him. Stepping into the freezing water, his foot found the first step, then 3 more until he was waist deep, facing the cascade. An unseen hand seemed to pull him forward. He plunged in, swimming strongly toward the waterfall, and dove deep, fingers tracing the rock face. 3 feet down he found an opening, slipping under as the current tugged him. The rock sloped upward, and he surfaced in a silent pool, gasping. The swim frightening but manageable. Shivering, he hauled himself onto a rocky ledge, the darkness pressing in. His fingers fumbled across the pack and torch, tearing it open to find a heavy woolen rope. He slipped it on, pounding his arms to restore warmth, the fabric rough against his chilled skin. With tinder from a pouch, he lit the torch, its flicker casting eerie shadows. The pool, just 6 feet across, was his only exit, and his heart raced. He had 2 hours to explore this lake's secret. A low hum emanated from the walls, too faint to place, stirring memories of the hell vision. He felt safe within the cavern, the med-alert signal blocked by the rock, a force field, he'd later learn, that shielded this place from the Federation and reptilians. Barefoot, he ventured deeper, the waterfall's muted thunder vibrating the cave. The floor sloped sharply downward for 20 feet, then leveled into a chamber, an opening turned to the right. But his gaze fixed on a rough stone altar ahead, flanked by unlit torches. The emblem painted beneath it, a man and woman holding hands within a circle, mirrored his parents' medallion, stealing his breath. He lit the altar torches, their glow revealing a circle of cushions, each with personal belongings. On impulse, he lifted a clay bowl from a cushion, spilling dust-covered items. 2 plastic hospital bracelets emerged. Wiping one, he read, "Rachel Kane." The other, grimy, revealed Tobal King and his birthday. Tears stung his eyes. These were his mother's, his own from infancy. His fingers brushed a jade and amber necklace, its static crackle sending a wave of love and peace through him. He slipped it on, and the air shimmered. Two figures materialized, the Lord and Lady, their forms translucent yet solid as he reached out, his hands trembling. He embraced them, their warmth seeping into him with a faint glow, even though he could see through them. "Mom? Dad?" he choked, his voice breaking, clinging to them as if they might vanish. Rachel's eyes, soft and wet, met his, her voice trembling with love. "Oh, Tobal, my sweet boy, we love you so much. We ache to have been there, to see you grow, to hold you through every tear." Ron's voice cracked, thick with emotion as he gripped Tobal's shoulder. "You're our pride, son. We wanted to watch you become this strong, but Harry stole that from us. Free us, please. We're fading." Tobal's tears fell, his voice raw. "How? Why you? I need you here." Rachel's hand, faint yet warm, brushed his cheek. "Your Uncle Harry betrayed us, handed us to the Federation. They're using us to power their time device with reptilian tech. It's killing us slowly, draining our life." Ron's gaze hardened, urgent. "The cave's force field hides you from them and those lizard kin. They can't penetrate it, so they hunt. We were training to be time knights, but they caught us first. There's a plan to save us, but it's not time yet. Other pieces must align." Tobal's heart pounded. "The Nexus? Where is it? How do I save you?" Rachel's voice softened, breaking. "Commune with us at Circle. In meditation, we'll guide you. You'll feel when it's right, but beware. Harry and the Federation want you for their experiments." They faded, leaving him trembling, the hum intensifying. Time pressed, and he searched for his father's pile, moving to the altar's far side. A ceremonial dagger with RK burned into the sheath caught his eye. He swapped it for his knife, strapping it hastily. Exploring further, he found a corridor to the left. Stooping to enter, turning a corner, he gasped at a vast cavern filled with artifacts, burnished armor, bronze weapons, and an alien section with unfamiliar objects. His torchlight caught a slender silver rod on the floor. He picked it up, its wrist cord secure. Pressing the first button, a comfortable light glowed. The second unleashed a heat beam on the wall, glowing red until he stopped it, heart pounding. The beam triggered a hum, and a holographic figure shimmered. Arthur, a sentient AI. "Hold on, Tobal." Arthur's warm voice broke through, his image flickering with concern. "I've tracked you since the altar. I'm Arthur, your guide. Call me telepathically anytime. Just think my name and I'll appear. You're in deep trouble." Tobal's breath hitched, clutching the rod. "Trouble? Who's after me? What's this thing?" Arthur's hologram softened, urgent. "Your Uncle Harry and the Federation with their reptilian allies. This cave's force field blocks them, but they're hunting you. They can't find it, so they want you for experiments like your parents. That rod's tied to their tech. Use it, but stay sharp." Before Tobal could press further, two figures teleported in. Lucas and Carla, their future-worn gear glinting. Lucas's eyes locked on him, voice thick with worry. "Tobal, you've stirred the nest. That rod's ancient. Let me wake it. Carla raised the device, and a ripple coursed through the cavern, the hum steadying. We've turned back time an hour, she said, her tone warm yet pressed. We need to talk. Your parents' life depends on it. Tobal's voice shook, stepping closer. Who are you? Why are my parents in that device? Lucas's face softened, heavy with care. We're time knights, Tobal. Your folks, Ron and Rachel, were training to join us, but they weren't full knights yet. Harry, your uncle, betrayed them, selling them to the Federation. The reptilians gave them mechanical time tech, clunky and forced, while ours is organic, natural. They're powering the device alive, but dying slow. Carla's eyes glistened, urgent. We've watched you through the medallion. This cave's force field hides you from the Federation and reptilians. They can't penetrate it, so they hunt. There's a plan to free Ron and Rachel, but it's not time yet. Other pieces must align first. The rod will help. Tobal's throat tightened, gripping the rod. How do I save them? Where's the nexus? What about Harry? Lucas sighed, running a hand through his hair. The nexus is deeper in. Search when you can. Arthur will guide you, and we'll check in. Harry's leading the hunt with the Federation. They want your blood for their experiments. The reptilians are pushing their tech, but it's unstable. Be careful. Carla squeezed his arm, voice breaking. Commune with your parents at circle or meditation. They'll reach you. You'll feel when it's time to act. Keep that rod safe. It's your link to us. Arthur cut in, warm but firm. I'll watch you. Think my name and I'll show up. The reptilians' tech is close. Get out soon. Harry's agents are relentless. Tobal's chest heaved, love and fear warring. Thank you, he whispered, looping the cord around his wrist. Lucas and Carla vanished, leaving him with 3 hours. He retraced his steps, snuffing the altar torches, and prepared a new torch and tinder by the pool. Shedding the robe, he clenched the bracelets in his mouth, dove into the black pool, and emerged outside to climb the stairs, the extra time nearly spent. Tobal emerged from the pool, water streaming off him as he climbed the stairs, the 3 hours ticking down. He wasted no time sliding into his tunic and furs. He was still wet as he hastily donned his boots and grabbed his pack and equipment. He put the wand into his pack and the hospital bracelets in a leather pouch on his waist for safekeeping. He guessed it was about 3 a.m., and the air sleds would be looking for him any time. A faint hum from the gold medallion pulsed, and Arthur's voice whispered telepathically, Tobal, they're tracking your metal alert bracelet. Move fast. He headed at a dog trot through the maze of rock and toward the edge of the lake. He hurried toward his burned-out campsite, planning to stop there and rest. He was halfway around the lake in the pre-dawn light and walking normally when the first air sled appeared. He was not surprised to see the air sled drop to the ground on the beach in front of him, and a medic stepped toward him. To his relief, it was Ellen in her red medic's tunic. Are you all right? She asked sharply. I'm fine, he said. Why? You've been appearing and disappearing from our monitors the last several days. Can I check your metal alert bracelet, please? The way she was holding her hand out told Tobal that she was telling him and not asking. Wordlessly, he took off the metal alert bracelet and handed it to her. Immediately, an alarm sounded at the air sled, and she went over to shut it off. She was on the radio a few minutes and then started to do some tests on the metal alert bracelet. It seemed to test out okay, and she finally handed it back to him. "What were you doing over by the waterfall?" "When I soloed, I came out here," he told her, "and decided to make my base camp on the lake over there." He pointed to the area where his burned-out camp had been. "I spent a lot of time and work building things up," he continued. "Then I was training Fiona and brought her out here with me. We found my entire camp destroyed and burned by rogues. I was only able to find one food cache left intact. We didn't want to meet any more rogues and felt it was not safe to stay in the area." "What does that have to do with the waterfall?" Ellen interrupted. "Everything," said Tobal. "We headed around the lake and saw the waterfall. We decided to try finding a way up the stream and explore in that direction while I was training Fiona." "Did you know there is an abandoned gathering spot there?" he interrupted excitedly. "It has a huge pile of stones in the center of it, too." He was watching carefully to see what effect the news of the cairn had upon her. He was disappointed since she didn't seem to care either way about it. "Anyway," he continued, "we went up the stream and then cut across country where my base camp is. That's how I originally found my base camp. That was last summer, but I always wondered what really happened to my first base camp. I wanted to come back here before snowfall and see if I could find anything of value that the rogues might have missed. I was worried about Fiona before and didn't want to endanger her. I thought I could come down here and check my old base camp real quick and be back in plenty of time for Circle." "I never heard your camp had been burned out," she said. "Did you tell anyone else?" "I talked with Rafe about it quite a bit. He was pretty upset too and told me the lake wasn't a good place for a base camp." "Rafe was right," she said grimly. "It's not a good place to hang around any time, especially by the waterfall." "As medics, we are given explicit instructions to keep a very close eye on anyone in this area because this is where most of the rogue attacks happen. Get on and we'll go look at your old camp." Hardly believing his luck, he carefully climbed on the back of her air sled and directed her to what was left of his burned-out camp. Together they poked around and he showed her the remains of his teepee, smoke rack, and sweat lodge. They did find a stone axe. He looked at it and recognized it as the first stone axe he had ever made. He told Ellen and she grinned. She seemed more relaxed now that his story had proven true. "There have been other people whose camps have been destroyed," she said. "These attacks seem to be coming more frequently, and I don't know what we're going to do about them. They're centered around this area, but we have been told the rogues live in a settlement about 200 miles west of us. That doesn't make sense to me somehow." "A settlement to the west?" Tobal asked. Ellen nodded. "It's a village made up of people that decided to drop out of training and not be citizens. They may have heard rumors about it. You may have heard rumors about it, but only we medics know where it is. I've actually checked it out, and there are children and old people in it. None of them wear metal bracelets, and we don't really know anything about them. If these raids continue, I've heard rumors that the city might attack the village and close it down." "Is that what happened to the gathering spot by the waterfall?" Tobal asked, fishing for information. "You must never mention that place to anyone," she said sharply. "It is a forbidden area and we have been told to keep people away from it." "Why is it a forbidden area?" Tobal said belligerently. "I should be able to go anywhere I want. This is a wide open wilderness and no one has ever told me that certain places are off limits." "Well, they are," she said matter-of-factly. "We don't tell people about them unless they stumble into them like you have. I don't really know why myself," she said. I think it has something to do with the rogues and keeping clansmen safe from them. There are some other areas that are off limits because they are dangerous for people on foot. It was mid-afternoon and Ellen said she needed to get back on patrol. She was sorry to hear Tobal had been burnt out and was going to make a note of it in her report. She advised him not to stay in the area as it might be dangerous, and she recommended he get another Metal Alert bracelet the next time he was in Sanctuary. Tobal was in agreement and headed straight for Sanctuary. He knew the route and, more importantly, knew a small cave where he could shelter for the night. It would give him a location where his Metal Alert bracelet would not give him away as he slept. Somehow that felt very important right now. He didn't know whom he could trust. He had been very lucky that Ellen had been the medic that found him. It was dark when he turned sharply to the left and stepped along a ridge he remembered having a small cave in it. Cautiously he poked his walking stick into the opening, making sure no one else was using it before crawling inside. He wrapped himself in warm furs and fell into a sleep of exhaustion, with eerie dreams of his father and mother in a cave doing some type of ritual. Before dawn the next morning he was back on the trail toward Sanctuary. He was prompted by a sense of urgency and a sixth sense that told him he was being followed. It was only a half hour later when an air sled circled and waved. He waved back and continued on, this time at a dog trot that ate up the miles. That day 2 more air sleds circled overhead, making certain of his destination, but none stopped him. That night he again crawled into a small cave and slept without a fire of any kind, munching on cold jerky and rinsing it down with water from his canteen. He was making good time and with any luck at all should be at Sanctuary the next evening. The sense of being pursued stayed with him that night and all of the next day. Again he was up before dawn on the trail and again an air sled appeared. This time only 15 minutes after he had gotten underway. They had obviously been out looking for him and wondering what was wrong with his Metal Alert bracelet. Well, he at least felt better with their air sleds since they were medics and not rogues. But he still didn't waste any time getting to Sanctuary. It was twilight when he finally got to the edge of the wooded area that opened onto the meadow leading to Sanctuary itself. He took a few minutes to hide the things from his parents before going into Sanctuary with the rest of his supplies and pack. No one was there, and he wasted no time setting his pack and clothing under one cot and stepping into the medical center as Ellen had suggested. He felt relief as the door slid shut behind him and locked. He took off his Metal Alert bracelet, dropped it on the floor, and pounded it with the heavy hilt of the knife he had brought with him. Under the heavy pounding, it broke into 3 pieces, and he left it there. He knew the medics would be alerted when he had taken it off, and then would be even more alerted when it suddenly stopped broadcasting. He was hoping one of them would be there when he came out the other end in a few hours. 3 hours later, he had a new Metal Alert bracelet and fresh clothing and equipment. As the door slid open, he cautiously stepped out into the gloom and stood still, waiting for his eyes to adjust in the dark. His knife was in his hand, and he knew he was not the only one in the room. He stood silently, waiting for someone to make the first move. "Tobal, is that you?" He heard Ellen's voice coming from near one of the cots. Relief spilled through him. "Yes. Is it safe?" "For now," she said. "Come, we've got some talking to do." He shouldered his new equipment and carried it over to the cot where he had stored the rest of his stuff. He searched under the cot and found he had been right. His things had been searched and gone through carefully while he had been in the medical chamber. He laid everything on the bed and tried to determine in the dim light if he was missing anything. Everything seemed to be there. Ellen stood silently by and watched as he sorted and repacked things. Tobal saw two other very serious masters standing guard at the entrance. "What's going on?" she demanded. "We were monitoring your signal, and then the alarm went off as if you were dead. Then the signal stopped completely, and we came immediately to see what was wrong. The first one here saw 3 rogues dressed in black running out of the sanctuary building and into the woods. It was dark, and they didn't show up on the air sled monitors, so we lost them. We don't know where they are now." "We went inside and saw that your pack had been searched, but you were not here. Then your signal showed up once more on the monitors, and we figured you must be in the medical chamber, so we waited for you to come out." "They followed me from the lake," Tobal said. "I knew they were following me. I could feel it and hid at night. I came here as fast as I could, just like you said to." "How could they follow you from the lake?" Ellen frowned. "They don't have monitors like we do on our air sleds." "They must have some way of tracking me," he repeated. "They would have gotten me if you hadn't shown up when you did." "It's not safe out here anymore." "We're going to take you back to the gathering spot where you and I are going to have a little chat," Ellen whispered. "You're hiding something back, and I want to know what it is." They walked toward Ellen's air sled, and Tobal suddenly remembered his package in the woods. "Wait here," he shouted. "I'll be right back." And he ran into the woods to retrieve the rest of his things. Ellen was on the air sled waiting when he ran back up and climbed on behind her. The 3 air sleds sped into the night toward the gathering spot. That's the end of the chapter. Things are getting pretty exciting. Till next week, thank you.